Hello and welcome to the AI Content Creation Masterclass. So, in this section, we're going to look at all the prompt engineering fundamentals you need, plus a bunch of tools you can use for text to image, image to image, image to video, text, video, and pretty much every permutation and combination of this possible. We're also going to look at how do you use AI to generate thumbnails, backgrounds, videos, talking characters, clones of yourself, voice cloning, and so much more. So I can't wait for us to dive right in. And without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first up, we're going to look at how do you curate, craft, and create better prompts. Now, if you haven't already, I'd highly recommend watching the prompt engineering lesson we have inside the AI fundamental section that dives a lot deeper into things like the clear framework and how do you use prompt engineering. In this section, we're going to look at how do some of those principles still apply, but like what are the adaptations we need to make for content creation, graphic design, and what we're going to be using it for in this section. But the main principle that still holds is better prompts equal better results, and bad and vague prompts equal bad results. So, why this matters for visual content is because this is an extension of the clear framework we already talked about in the AI fundamental section. And the core principle is like in software engineering, we have this principle of garbage in, garbage out. That just like a chef cannot make a high quality dish with poor ingredients, AI cannot create exceptional outputs from vague inputs. And so, the better your prompts are, the better the visual results you get, no matter which tool you are using. And we're going to look at a bunch. But the more vague your prompts are, the less likely that you're going to get high quality results. So, it's most likely you'll be disappointed and you may think, oh, this tool doesn't work, or like, why isn't it working for me? But it's most likely usually the prompt that's not up to the mark or not what the AI was expecting. And that's why it generated a poor output. And that's why, like in this section, I'm going to give you four different ways that you can get the most out of any AI module. And so let me show you the first one right now. So the first one we're going to be discussing is like using custom instructions, which is an adaptation of the Clear framework. Now, while Clear works best for copywriting and text content, you can always adapt it for visual content or any AI tool you're using. So as always, we want to start with a role. So you start with expertise. Like you may say something like you are an expert graphic designer with 10 years of experience in logo design, or you're a professional brand designer specializing in social media assets. So we set the role and then we give it the context of setting the scene. Like, what's the brand or business? What is the purpose of this visual? What feeling should it convey? Like, we can get as specific or as vague as we like, but the more elements we include of the Clear framework, the more likely we're going to get a better response from the AI model we're using. So we may also specify like who is the audience for it. Is it like professional B2B audience or a children or younger audience? Accordingly, they may value different things, right? Because a professional or a B2B audience may value something that's clean, minimal, whereas children or a younger audience may value something that has bright colors, playful fonts, a casual style. And if you were dealing with, say, a luxury market, they may look for something that's elegant, premium, and refined. So, next we look at examples when the tool supports it. So, you can give like reference images, like when we talk about Nano Banana. And even this entire module, by the way, is just to give you a high level theoretical overview of like how to prompt these AI tools. We look at examples and practical applications of all these prompting frameworks and all the prompting tools you need. This is again just a very high level introduction to give you the theory behind what we're going to be doing. Okay. So, yes, you can give it examples. You may say good examples include, and say you may include key elements like color schemes, compositions, and you may also tell it to avoid specific elements. The length or format, this we will look at when we are using the tools again. You may specify dimensions or aspect ratios, number of iterations or variations that you want from each AI model. So you may want two, three, or four variations of the same logo. And a pro tip to keep in mind is that at the end of your prompt, you can always include a custom message like, if my request is too vague, please ask me for follow up questions before generating a response. And this ensures that the AI gets clarity from you rather than guessing what you want. So, That is the first way of doing this, where you have like a somewhat clear idea of what you're looking for, and that leans into the clear framework, because the clearer you are, the clearer you can give instructions using this framework to any AI model you're working with. But what if you don't know what exactly you're looking for, right? Like you don't have a vision in mind. You know you want, say, a logo or an image for your website or whatever that may be, but you don't have a clear idea of what it is you're looking for. So the next two methods we're going to be looking at are exactly for that scenario. So the first one is you can just go to Claude or ChatGPT and ask it for a detailed prompt. Like here's an example. You can just say something like, can you generate a detailed AI prompt to create a high quality, and you can specify what asset type you're looking for, whether it's a logo or a banner image, whatever that may be, for your niche or business. And then you can proceed to tell it just about your business, who your target audience is. So even if you don't have all aspects of the clear framework, like giving it a context, explaining to the AI model about you, the use case, the business, the niche, whatever that may be, you can always give it that context, right? So you can ask it for a detailed prompt, and here are a few examples. So it may be something as simple like, can you generate a detailed AI prompt to create a high quality logo for a sustainable fashion brand, or to create a high quality LinkedIn banner for a marketing consultant. And so the AI understand what makes effective prompts for visual content, and it will include technical details that you might have forgotten, like color theory, composition, rules, style, keywords, etc. So, and once you have this detailed prompt, you can either directly use it or you can make specific tweaks to it. And again, I'm going to show you this in action anyway. This is just like a high level example or a template that you can use if you're ever stuck. So the third method we're going to look at is conversational AI prompting. So this is again, like say you're not sure what you're looking for, you can always just have a conversation with whichever LLM or AI model you're working with. And so this iterative approach works excellently for graphic design when you're not entirely sure what you want. So you may start broad, like begin with general questions to establish principles, like what are some important factors to consider when crafting a logo, banner, thumbnail, whatever it is you're looking for? And then you may continue the conversation based on the AI's guidance. And so you may say something like, can you generate, say we're doing a logo, can you generate a logo using those principles for my business or niche? And which shows like target audience that are trying to achieve like a desired action or outcome. And you can always, like, actually a better practice is to always enhance iteratively. So you only want to tweak one thing at a time. So even when you get a response from the AI, you may say, like, I only want to change the color scheme, or I only want to change, say, a symbol being used, whatever that is. Because if you give AI too much to change at once, it usually does a poorer job than if you try and isolate one variable at a time. So, like I was mentioning, color scheme, element, whatever that may be. And so, one kind of mindset to have when working with any AI model or prompting is that of a scientist who tries to isolate one variable at a time and iteratively improve on it. So, similarly, like when you are working with these AI models, you can always enhance iteratively. You can keep refining it and always ask, like, the AI model itself or any LLM, if I had to improve this even further, what suggestions would you make? Or what one suggestion would you make? And then you can always ask it, like, can you make it more engaging? Can you add more contrast? Can you adjust the color scheme to be more warm, cool, vibrant, playful? That really is completely up to you and what you're looking for. And why this works is you're having a dialogue rather than trying to nail everything in one shot, right? Like so often we make the mistake of treating these LLMs just like most computer programs. And this is another very big mental shift to have, is rather than treating them like computer programs that are designed to do one very specific thing and always behave predictably, like software, for example, when I say computer programs, AIs and LLMs are quite different. The more conversational you are with them, the more you treat them like a human, the more you have like exactly these conversations with constant feedback and iteration, the same way you would talk to a graphic designer if they were a real person, like instead of this AI model, is the same way you should be using it when you're working with any of the AI tools we're about to talk about. So you start with one thing, you listen for feedback, you make iterations, you make improvements till you finally get what you're looking for. Okay, and lastly, we're going to look at reverse engineering. This is where you get the AI or LLM to learn from existing designs that you admire. And so you may upload an image or a visual of something you like, and you may say something like, can you analyze this and generate a detailed AI prompt that would create something similar? And what that may involve is even a prompt like, can you tell me what about this headline, logo, design makes it engaging, and generate a new prompt to create something equally captivating. And then you may build on that prompt. You may tell it, oh, mine is for this audience. And they may value something that's more minimal, or they may value something that's more playful. I think these color schemes would work great. You can always ask the AI what color schemes you think it will look great. Now, you don't have to agree with whatever the AI tells you, they may just give you your suggestions. But this is where you can always have your creative input as well. And at the end of the day, you have freedom to choose whatever you want. So now that we've covered the concepts theoretically at a high level, the next step is to modify and iterate once you understand the principles behind effective designs. So if you have done any graphic design course, or you have any experience with graphic design, or you have a friend who's in graphic design, you can always ask them, like, what are the thoughts that go through your brain when you're coming up with a new logo? Like, what helps you pick what fonts to use, or what color schemes to use, or what symbol elements, anything like that, right? And this is where you don't have to be an expert yourself, but just getting like 1 to 3 minutes of creative input from them are guidelines you can use to make your prompt so much better. And so now that you understand these different frameworks for prompting the LLMs to get prompts that you may use with image models, or how to interact with the image models themselves, like the next steps are pretty much for you to understand that you can modify and iterate these once you understand the principles of effective designs. And you can always ask the AI themselves, like, what about this logo makes it a great logo, or what about it makes it a bad logo? And giving any AI model bad examples is just as useful as giving it good examples. And so you may adapt the prompt for your specific use case. You may continue the conversation to refine it further, ideally trying to isolate one variable at a time. And you may combine elements from multiple reverse engineered prompts. So, why this works is because you're learning from proven designs and extracting principles that make them effective rather than starting from scratch. My favorite, and one that I've been using a lot of late, is Nano Banana. So you'll see it's my favorite tool. Yes, it's completely free and it's incredibly powerful and user friendly. It's Google's flagship model, and it handles like 90% of what you'll need for graphic design and image generation. We'll cover it in depth in the next couple of modules. But for now, this was just like a high level understanding for you to know different prompting frameworks that you can use with LLMs and the AI tools itself that we're going to look at in the next few sections. And don't worry, we'll cover Nano Banana in depth, showing you exactly how to apply these 4 prompting methods to create professional quality visual content. And before we wrap up here, this is just a quick reference guide so that you know which method you may use based on your situation. So if you know exactly what you want, you may choose the custom instructions and like the clear framework. If you need help structuring your prompt, you can always ask AI to do it for you. If you're exploring and refining ideas, conversational prompting might work better. And if you found inspiration and you just want to replicate it for your niche, your business, your use case, then reverse engineering might be the best way to go. You can always combine these methods and use them interchangeably, but this is just a framework for you to use while working with any of these AI models or tools. So, yep, by now you should have a clear understanding of the 4 different frameworks you can use when prompting and working with any AI tool for graphic design or visual creation. We're going to look at all of these in practice soon. That's it for this one, and I'll see you in the next one.